Mr. McLeod,
Contempt for what?
Mr. McLeod, two things are going to happen. You're going to answer my question, or you're going to jail for summary contempt for not complying with the court's request. Do you, Mr. McLeod, understand that the maximum penalty for the charge against you is 3 years in prison and or $1,000 fine?
I don't understand the charges.
Mr. McLeod is in contempt of court taken into custody.
Really? That's it.
This hearing is chaotic from beginning to end. Mr. McLoud is facing charges for assaulting an officer, but he keeps insisting the court has no authority over him. He goes into the usual sovereign citizen arguments, interrupting, shouting, and using made-up legal terms. The judge stays firm through all of it and shuts down every attempt. Things get so tense that, by the end, the judge has no choice but to order him into a holding cell for the night. The whole exchange is both frustrating and oddly amusing. He seems completely confident in what he's saying, even though none of it holds up in a real courtroom. Let's get into it.
Do you understand your right to a lawyer, including a court-appointed lawyer?
I understand that.
Okay. And do you wish to represent yourself instead of having an attorney?
Yeah, I'm here by special appearance, and I will be representing myself.
Okay. I'm required by law before I accept that waiver to do a couple things. One, advise you of the maximum penalties that you could face for the charges that you're in my court for. Resisting, obstructing conservation officers is a high court misdemeanor punishable by up to 2 years in prison and or $1,000 fine. There's a habitual offender second notice that's been filed by the prosecutor, which would make that a felony punishable by up to 3 years and or $1,000 fine. And marine safety operating while intoxicated is a misdemeanor punishable by up to 93 days and or $100 to $500 fine. Do you understand the maximum penalty for the charges against you?
Well, I don't even really understand why I'm here.
Pay attention to how calm the judge stays. He really tries to give Mr. McLoud a fair chance, even through all the interruptions and confusion. The amount of patience he shows is honestly impressive. Let me know in the comments whether you think this man truly believes what he's saying, or if he's just trying to avoid responsibility.
Be in trouble. Okay. Do you understand that the maximum penalty that you could face for the charges that you're here for is up to 3 years in prison and or $1,000 fine?
I don't understand the nature and cause of the action against me. So
what is it that you don't understand? Do you not understand how long 3 years is, or how much the fine is that I've articulated? Can you tell me what it is you don't understand?
The nature and cause of the action against me because there's no established jurisdiction.
That's not what I'm asking you right now. I'll let you place whatever objections you want on the record, Mr. McLeod. I promise you that. Okay. Can we just go one step at a time? So do you understand the maximum penalty that you could face if you're convicted as charged? 3 years in prison or $1,000 fine?
Well, I have another question because the statutory jurisdiction doesn't exist under the Constitution. So in order for me to defend myself, could you please tell me where the published rules of conduct are for criminal statutory jurisdiction, or where I can find the nature and cause of this jurisdiction, or how this information exists?
No, I don't even understand what you're asking.
So you're saying this is a statutory jurisdiction under what? The statutes of Michigan, correct?
Mr. McLeod, I've told you what my jurisdiction is.
General jurisdiction.
The people of the state of Michigan voted to convene a constitutional convention in 1961.
Sure.
There was a constitutional convention in 1961 and 1962. They proposed a state constitution. The voters of the state of Michigan ratified that in 1963. Article 6 establishes the judicial power. And the circuit court is a court under that judicial power of Article 6 of the state constitution. And so you're here in my court. I have subject matter jurisdiction over those crimes. I have personal jurisdiction over you because you've been alleged to have committed them in our county. That's my jurisdiction. So Mr. McLeod, you want to represent yourself? Do you understand the maximum penalty that you could face of 3 years in prison and or $1,000 fine?
One second.
I can see why his attorney withdrew. Oh, shit.
Hang on. Someone in the prosecutor's office is not muted. I'm going to remove you from the meeting at this time.
Oh.
Prosecutor's office is generally allowed to attend to observe. They've participated. I'm removing them from the hearing.
This next moment is completely unexpected. It's the kind of unfiltered reaction that makes the entire courtroom stop for a second. It's almost funny watching someone react that honestly in the middle of such a strange situation. When you look at the bigger picture, it makes perfect sense why his attorney backed out a case. Mr. McLoud is sitting there flipping through a stack of papers, as if he's about to uncover some secret rule that will make the charges disappear. It genuinely seems like he believes he's found a loophole no one else knows about. Meanwhile, everyone else, the judge, the prosecutor, and likely the entire room, already knows how this is going to end. But he keeps pushing forward, convinced he's figured out something the legal system has supposedly missed. You really have to wonder what people who follow these sovereign citizen ideas expect. Do they think the judge is suddenly going to stand up and say, "You're right, case dismissed"? It's like watching someone play a game without knowing the rules. By the time the prosecutor makes her comment, it feels like the perfect summary of the entire situation. Honestly, anyone in her position would probably be thinking the same thing. What makes it even more surprising is how committed these individuals are to their ideas. Watching him shuffle his papers and quote rules that don't apply is almost unbelievable.
Mr. McLeod, do you understand the maximum penalty that you could face?
1 second. Okay, so when enforcement of mere statutes, judges of all courts do not act judicially and are thus are not protected and qualified by limited immunity. That's Owen versus the city. I just want to state a few things for the record since you're claiming this is a jurisdiction under statutory law.
Hang on. Mr. McLeod, can we back it? Look at me for a second. Can we talk here?
I challenged subject matter jurisdiction and nothing can go forward until that's addressed. You're saying
I did address it and I denied your objection. I have subject matter
jurisdiction doesn't
jurisdiction.
exist under the Constitution.
Your objection is noted. Okay, so Mr. McLeod, do you understand? Let me explain to you.
Sure.
Sometimes, as I said, people might want to represent themselves, but let's say they have limited intellectual capacity and they don't understand.
But let's continue. At this point, you can clearly see the judge is tired of the constant interruptions and confusion. He isn't trying to be harsh. He's just stating the facts. Mr. McLeod keeps relying on documents and claims that have nothing to do with the law, and the judge calmly explains that none of it applies. Moments like this remind you why the judge is the authority in the courtroom.
Know what's going on before I can allow them to represent themselves. I'm required to establish, do you comprehend, do you know the maximum penalty that you could face if you're convicted as a result of this charge? 3 years in prison or $1,000 fine. Do you understand that, Mr. McLeod?
So I'd like to state for the record that
Mr. McLeod, stop.
the court can be.
Stop, Mr. McLeod. If you don't understand it, I'm going to revoke your right to represent yourself and have an attorney represent you because I can't establish that you know what you're doing. So do you know the maximum penalty that you would face?
Your Honor, I've challenged this court's jurisdiction. You haven't established it yet. You said you have a statutory jurisdiction which doesn't exist under the Constitution. I'm trying to figure out where I stand with this. So I can't answer any of your questions until you answer some of mine.
That's not how it works. Are you refusing to answer my question?
No, I'm
Then answer it. Do you understand the maximum penalty that you face for this charge?
So judges who become involved in enforcement of
Mr.
your
McLeod,
statutes.
I have other matters. Mr. McLeod,
Involved agency. What's that?
you know, I understand you want to object to things and you're going to be allowed to object to things. Okay.
Sure.
But we have to do things one step at a time. And I do have other cases today. I'm not going to entertain this for like a whole hour. I've got other cases going on. If you want to dig in your heels and just make this real complicated or real difficult, we could do that. And I can hold you in contempt and you'll go back to a jail cell for a while.
No, Your
and then we'll
Honor,
do
I don't wish to be held in contempt. I just wish to exercise my Sixth Amendment right.
That's fine.
And
So before I can let you under,
I can
before I
cite
can,
laws. I can cite laws that will show you that the exercise of a right can be converted into a crime. I'm trying to understand the nature and cause of the action against me. You're not clarifying enough to where I can comprehend it, as you say.
do you comprehend the maximum penalty that you would face?
I'm not answering any of those questions until you establish that this is a court of the Constitution, has jurisdiction under these jurisdictions.
I established it. I told you. You might think I'm wrong and you can appeal.
There's
it
no
to the
such
Michigan
thing as
Court
a
of Appeals.
statutory jurisdiction.
Mr. McLeod, let me make this simple for you. Do you ever watch, let me make this simple for you.
Sure.
I'm gonna ask you this question one more time, okay? Two things are gonna happen. You are either gonna answer my question, or I'm gonna hold you summarily in contempt. And the court officer will bring you to a jail cell, and we'll talk about it tomorrow. You understand that?
So.
Mr.
in
McLoud,
contempt for what?
Mr. McLeod, two things are gonna happen. You're gonna answer my question, or you're going to jail for summary contempt for not complying with the court's request. Do you, Mr. McLeod, understand that the maximum penalty for the charge against you is 3 years in prison and or $1,000 fine?
I don't understand the charges.
Mr. McLeod is in contempt of court, taken into custody.
Really? That's it. Protecting my rights is what you said last time. Sorry.
Fucking Joe.
This isn't true. You guys
You'll
are
have to follow
following
unconstitutional
You're following
orders.
unlawful orders. It's not
Not a
constitutional at all.
thing.
Mr. McLeod's in contempt, he's sentenced to 1 day. Mr. McLeod, your sentence is 1 day in jail. We'll reconvene tomorrow and get you
This is about
notice.
the Constitution. I did nothing wrong except to question and exercise my rights.
It's honestly difficult to watch. He's trying to represent himself, but he clearly doesn't understand how the legal system works. There's no reason he couldn't have asked for a lawyer. Everyone has the right to legal counsel under the Sixth Amendment, and the court would have provided one if needed. Instead, he chooses to argue using information that has no legal weight. You can see the judge try his best to guide him at first, slowing down and explaining things step by step. But even the most patient judge eventually has to step in and stop the confusion. What makes this even more concerning is how confident he looks while doing all of this. He seems to think he's discovered some sort of hidden legal trick, even though the situation is actually very straightforward. And remember, he's charged with assaulting an officer, which is a serious offense and can be a felony. Instead of answering simple questions or trying to work out a plea deal, he's spending the entire hearing arguing points that don't help him at all. Because of that, he ends up spending an extra night in jail. The judge even tells him that none of what he's saying is relevant, but he keeps going as if he's making progress. There's also a more serious side to this. People who follow these ideas often believe they're exempt from the law because of certain theories, but courts have rejected those claims for decades. Cases going back to the 1990s show the same arguments being dismissed every time. Judges are required to follow the actual law, not someone's personal interpretation of it. A conviction for assault could lead to losing certain rights, like voting or owning a firearm, and could result in prison time. He's putting himself in a much worse position by refusing to engage with the real legal process. That wraps up the breakdown. Let me know in the comments what you think. Is he actually convinced by these ideas, or is he pretending? Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy this kind of content. Thanks for watching and take care.